Hello everyone and welcome to the Quake World Championship European Duel Qualifiers. We started this third qualifier on Thursday and now we have the top 16. I'm Zoot and I'm joined by ZSX and we will be bringing you those matches today. How are you doing, Dan?
I am doing really well.
Yeah?
I'm so excited to be back casting now, and particularly today.
Yeah.
Because we're in the third week and we still have a lot of big names on the table, and I'm really interested to see how they've progressed, because it's now at a point where they should have learned the game to a sufficient level where they really adapted their style, and I'm really excited to see what they can bring, as well as the new names. A lot of people on that list I know of, but I haven't really seen in Quake Champions. So,
and it's the names that we're not seeing today as well, that we're playing in the third qualifier, that also adds to the interest levels, which we're going to break down a little more later on. Of course, we have got 8 matches today, which I'll talk to you about in a moment, but this has been the journey that we've been taking through the Quake World Championship qualifiers. We've had the sacrifice qualifiers as well. We had just passed Duel Qualifier 3, which took place on the 13th on Thursday, which is where we have got our top 16 now. And of course, one more Duel Qualifier to be going to next Thursday. It is the last chance. If you've not qualified to the regionals already, that is going to be your last hope in doing so. And I know it's the last hope for me as well, and for you actually. We've got to make it, Dan, come on.
I hope I actually have to play you again.
No,
so I can humiliate you again.
I feel like I put up a pretty sufficient fight. I thought it was good.
And that was about the extent of it.
You basically got quite lucky, and the way you performed after, I mean, I would have qualified. But shameful UK playing.
In all honesty though, I think the last week's the most exciting week for virtually anyone out there, because the pressure is so much higher. And that really gives a chance for a lot more upsets. And
it's already kind of happening now. The jitters kind of, they start to grow as they're getting through the qualifiers, when they realize there's fewer and fewer chances to make it to the regionals. And when there's more and more pressure, where the build-up of skill and how the meta of the game is evolving is getting closer to crunch time, where people are going to be competing for part of that $1 million prize pool that we've got going into this event. It's absolutely insane. The first match that we will be having up is kRoNic versus kRoNic. Now, I think a lot of people are going to know who kRoNic is.
For sure.
Maybe a lot of people won't know who he is. He is the #1 German player. He, I guess, could be regarded as a Quake legend.
He's got, massive levels of success in Quake Live and in Quake 3 up to an extent. So, obviously, he's known for his aim, and that's a really big thing, particularly his rail. And that's a huge thing in Quake Champions, but there's a reason why he's in Qualifier 3. And it's because he hasn't lived up to those expectations. No,
exactly. He's had a pretty bumpy ride over here. Let's see if I've got some of the information. I think in week 1, he lost to Pikawa in actually an early round. He didn't even make it to the round of 16. And then again, fluttering last week at the same time. You said before the show that he's a bit of an emotional player, in fact.
Yeah.
Do you think that he's going to feel that pressure today?
I think today is... he'll for sure feel it, but today the last chance saloon where it was a little bit off because there's one more week. But again, if he fails today, then that's where it really starts to mount. It really starts to play with your head, like, why am I not winning these games? Like, what's going wrong?
Especially someone who's used to winning.
Exactly. But saying that, I've seen him in other tournaments in the last week or so, and he does seem to have refined his style a lot. So again, really excited to see what he brings to the table. But as I mentioned before the show, kRoNic's no pushover.
Yeah, and you actually tip him to possibly even win this game, which it could be a brave call to make. I'm not even sure where I fall, because I haven't seen kRoNic play much at all in Quake Champions. He's the #1 Irish player, and people are like, Irish players? Yeah. There are Irish players? There are Irish players, and kRoNic, he's been around for a long, long time. He's always been people who've been scratching at the top elite levels. He's played in the kind of like the ESL Dubai ages ago, and some notable LAN events, but he's now really trying to come to terms with his game style and the game in Quake Champions.
As a player, he has... I don't want to sound disrespectful, but it's a very standard play style. He's very good at playing the map. He's very good at being in the right positions.
How could that sound not disrespectful?
Okay, well, it's a good thing, but I mean, he's not eccentric in his play style. But that really does favour him in Quake Champions, I think. With that positional play that he has, it's really strong. A great hit scan. The champions on offer, I think he can mix it up and offer something really quite exceptional that he didn't have in Quake Live. It offers him a new lease of life, I think.
And that's something that a lot of players are finding different. But why we've got players like kRoNic now who haven't made it through the qualifiers, because it isn't the old Quake. It's a completely new one where you have to have a new game style. You got people coming from other games as well who are coming on. Like later on, we'll be seeing Bus Driver X, and he's been playing with Alliance. There's actually 3 Alliance players playing today into this qualifiers. Yeah, it's mental. But it shows that it's great that people who have got that kind of the FPS skill are able to be able to identify themselves within this game, within the champions.
We said as the weeks have gone on, people have changed their playstyle, and that's completely right. But when you're someone such as kRoNic, who has 10, 15 years experience in Quake and the old versions of Quake, you have many habits, particularly dueling habits, that don't necessarily benefit you in Quake Champions. And it's really up to you to iron them out, to analyze what am I doing that worked before that isn't now, because it does require a completely different way you have to play this game. And until you fix that, you're always going to struggle.
And I think that's the benefit that maybe newer players have, is because if they can not have those bad habits coming into the game, then they actually can find a lot of success. And what we got is the first map will be Corrupted Keep. Now, I believe Corrupted Keep is going to be the first map going all the way through as they play it on that sort of round basis.
Sure.
In terms of predictions, I have for a map-by-map basis between these two players, kRoNic and kRoNic. I'm not 100% certain. I looked at this game, one of the interesting games today, where it's just impossible to tell who's got really a major edge. I think a lot of people go, well, obviously it's kRoNic.
I'd say 90% people would say kRoNic, but again, that is accounting out kRoNic, who is a solid player, and particularly on Corrupted Keep. Taking that rail away from kRoNic is obviously always going to hinder his playstyle, but he's no slug with the rocket launcher or the lightning gun. And we saw that in Quake Live. People underestimated him on, for example, Lost World map. This is the equivalent. You've got no railgun, but he's very adept at moving around the map fast, being super aggressive, and he's got great aim across the board. Then again, this is a very positional map, and I think kRoNic, my mind would lean towards kRoNic slightly more.
For this map specifically? Or?
This map specifically.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think kRoNic will definitely be looking forward to playing a rail map no matter which way it goes. And it's always a bonus for him if he's going to be able to get a win. Of course, if you are tuning into the stream and you're wondering, okay, what's this game about exactly? This is Duel we're playing within Quake Champions. The whole point is that each player starts with 3 champions in a best-of-5 round within the map. You have to eliminate your opponent's 3 champions in order to win a round, and you need 3 rounds in total to win the map against your opponent. We're playing a best-of-3 in maps between the players today, and every single matchup is going to have one player going through to the regionals that will start towards the beginning of next month, where they will play directly for a chance at that $1 million tournament, and one player is going to lose, which means they will be relegated to trying to qualify next week again and again and again and again. And speaking of again and again, there's one player who has been playing a lot of these qualifiers. Inns is going to be playing later. He went out in the first week to Cypher, which respectable. I mean, you can't play against Cypher. You can't. If you lose against Cypher, it's you had your chance.
It's the best learning experience you can have. Yeah, and that's the only way to put it. No one in the world at the minute would expect to beat Cypher. Yes, there are people who could beat him, but if you had to name someone who is probably leading the way in Quake Champions, it is Cypher.
You're not susceptible to flame if you lose against him, for instance.
I would agree with that judgment.
Okay, good. Then the week after, Inns did play against Garpy as well, and means that we have a UK player going through.
Thank you.
We've got a couple of UK players playing today.
Represent.
I know, right? It's a shame that we're here and we're not qualifying, but I think we've got our jobs to do. We've got Bus Driver X from the UK. I know we've got to be professional as well.
Sure.
And then we have to be completely unbiased, and we've got to be neutral between every single player. But when Bus Driver X are playing, and when Hell is also going to be playing later on,
do you love
I will. I'll try to remain composed and have no negative things to say towards their opponents.
I'll kick you under the table just in case.
Okay, just in case it gets completely out of hand, then cool. we'll see about how that.
But I mean, it's really great to see so many UK players coming back, because the UK scene has obviously not been that vibrant for a number of years, and it's really awesome to see Hell back. Obviously such a classic player, come back now and competing again. It's awesome, doing really well in Sacrifice as well.
Yeah,
and I hope he does well today.
Yeah, I mean, you got through to the regionals, of course, and No, I just heard that we lost kRoNic momentarily, but we're getting him into the server lobby, so we should be starting the game relatively soon. And as you say, some of the players who have come to Quake Champions, they haven't been playing almost the most recent iteration of Quake Live, and they've just been going straight into it. Being like, oh, how this is incredible! I've got a chance right now to get big in esports when the industry is really establishing itself. We've got this $1 million prize pool tournament, which just bodes so positively for the future of Quake, and it's great to draw that attraction. And then the new players as well, who feel like, okay, I can really get into this as well. There's a ceiling here which I can climb towards and start competing against the best players in the world.
As we said, it's a level playing field, and that is really one of the most exciting things about this iteration, is that it really just has leveled the playing field. As you said, for old players or for brand new players to the game, it does seem like everyone has a fair chance, and it really is about who is adapting to this new mechanic of Champions Best with all the abilities as well. And Hell's obviously one of them that's really adapted.
Looks like we are getting into the draft between kRoNic and kRoNic now on Corrupted Keeping. kRoNic going straight for the clutch pick right at the beginning.
Interesting. This is what I mean about him being able to have this new lease of life. Clutch is something out of the bag that I wouldn't expect it, and allows him to obviously move around the map extremely quickly, but also hold his positions with a really, really big stack, and that's what he's particularly good at.
We've got a Nyx and a Ranger pick from kRoNic, I guess. We've got just big champions so far from kRoNic. We're going to get a Ranger. He doesn't. Usually we expect maybe a Nyx or an Anarchy from a lot of players just to be part of the sort of team composition.
Yeah, kRoNic's style, as I mentioned right at the very start, is very positional, and the larger champions in this game favor that massively. It allows you to build a stack even without the major items and hold really strong positions and trust yourself with your aim. Something that Toxic does really, really well. He just takes up strong positions, holds the ground, and allows you to bully your opponent off the map. If you get caught off guard, and that's the really biggest reservation of that, that's where you're extremely vulnerable. So it really is up to kRoNic to play extremely smart, know where kRoNic in all times, and just take those positions and bully him. But kRoNic's obviously gone back to more of a traditional playstyle. Nyx is obviously a great hero that, a great champion that, to a certain extent, is very difficult to play against. But the Visor and the Ranger, a very standard Quake style. It allows you to put up a good stack, good movement around the map, and play super aggressive. And
I think that's one thing that you have to watch out for a little bit if you are playing one of the large champions and you are watching out for your position. Nyx can throw a curveball in that a little bit and spice things up, but we are getting into the game. It's the first match of the day between kRoNic and kRoNic. And this map 1 Corrupted Keep, we are going to be having Nyx of kRoNic up versus Big Robot Boy.
Big Robot Boy. One of the most difficult things on this map is that initial spawn, that the person who gets the rockets can have a big advantage. So kRoNic's doing a really good job at playing quite defensive and keeping away, because it is very dangerous just to rush at that rocket launcher.
And it's nice as well, the damage that he's been able to do with the machine gun, which is definitely going to make kRoNic have to think about his stack a little bit. But the LG, they got an air rocket already by kRoNic, and that's the stuff we were saying at the beginning. I don't think we were predicting specifically air rockets from kRoNic.
First frag of the day, and it couldn't have been much better.
Absolutely unbelievable. And look at the stack that he's got at the moment. He could completely crush kRoNic. He's found him at the bottom. He's just popped his shield, and he's going to have to follow him through the teleporter if he wants to find him again. Machine gun out, and you've got to remember that hitbox of Clutch is absolutely enormous. He is so weak, but he is adamant that he can take down kRoNic again. And 3 champions to 1 right at the start.
This was exactly the way we predicted kRoNic to play. He's taking those positions, just making kRoNic, forcing kRoNic into fights he doesn't want to take, and kRoNic with such a tanky champion is more than willing to take them.
And he's just trying to stack up a little bit, even investing into some of his health and armor into getting the rocket jumps.
This is the most dangerous time of the game for kRoNic right now. Hasn't got his ability up, he hasn't got a stack yet. He needs to play super defensive, and that's why we're seeing him scouting out this red armor.
Spawns in a couple of seconds' time. We got kRoNic who's really nearby. Oh, he almost gets the telefrag as well. The LG coming out of kRoNic. The armor's right in front, but kRoNic's not able to move himself into that position. Now kRoNic actually, with Visor, he's got an enormous stack. He's going up versus Scalebearer, which has got a good escape ability if he hasn't got the weapons and wants to get out, but this could be a nice trap. We can see through the wall there. Obviously the players aren't able to see that themselves. And the timing, really. You kind of feel if kRoNic stood there for another couple of seconds, he would have the perfect opportunity for a frag. But using his piercing sight, finding the scale bearer, and the one damage rocket, another one as well. Careful for the rockets from kRoNic, though.
Yeah, it's a really great use of the piercing sight just to secure the heavy armor. There's not really much other use for it on this map, so it just made kRoNic back off.
This is probably going to be another frag here from kRoNic. So little health. Rocket splash. Is it going to get the frag? What? Oh, he almost managed to get him with the bull rush.
That would have been pretty infuriating.
Yeah, if I was kRoNic, I would have absolutely lost it. We've got the dire orb, though, used by kRoNic. He's actually only got one champion left. After having such an amazing start to this map, it might be tapering out quite a bit, as kRoNic's visor has been spectacularly good.
That was super smart by kRoNic then not to push him for the kill, because he only had 100 health and he would have been very vulnerable. And on this game, it's very difficult to stack back up when you're quite low.
Stopwatch.
That was quite an interesting scenario right there with the dire orb. kRoNic was very sure that he was going to go through the dire orb, and just at the last second he moves away and has his doubts and thinks it's just some kind of distraction, some ploy. But in the end he goes through it anyway, which has allowed kRoNic to get out of that really dangerous spot just up by the LG, where he's completely stuck there. And kRoNic is slowly managing to pick up a bit of a stack himself, hanging around a little bit by those hourglasses, and now trying to move away so that he can unlock the rest of the map to himself. Yeah. We've got just over a minute left.
I predict kRoNic now to go after this red armor, after this heavy armor. He should really go on the offensive. He doesn't need more items.
Oh, he used the piercing sight, but he actually wasn't able to see kRoNic just then. kRoNic's going to know he used that ability, and he's going to have a timing in terms of when is kRoNic going to be able to next use that.
Yeah, kRoNic really now should just be pressuring off these smaller items, because he still doesn't need to stack back up. As long as kRoNic's not there, he's free to take it, but there's no other need.
And kRoNic's just trying to escape. He knows that his stack's not as good as kRoNic's at the moment. And you've always got to watch out a little bit for that dire orb. That dire orb can get you that instant kill if it is completely accurate. Great defensive rocket there by kRoNic, managing to move himself away. And the splash damage that kRoNic was starting to land was also getting slightly scary.
Yeah, this is the perfect way to play against someone like kRoNic, who is just trying to rush you, is just to keep away.
Wow, the defensive rockets from kRoNic. He's being lifted into the air a bit, uses the dire orb mid-air, but is not able to get any further damage. One good rocket could have got kRoNic the kill, but kRoNic will take that first round. And I gotta say, I was feeling pretty confident of kRoNic's ability after he dispatched those champions so early on.
Yeah, he just got suffocated off the map and he couldn't stack back up. kRoNic did keep on top of him. He didn't do substantial damage, but he did sufficient damage to keep kRoNic away from the major items.
Now on kRoNic with his Nyx, going up against kRoNic once again. He's managed to find himself the rockets, and he's forcing the Ghost Walk out. kRoNic, he would have known exactly where kRoNic went, as the Ghost Walk was used shortly after the shield. And kRoNic is going to have the shorter timer for the item. And he's also picking up the hourglasses as well, which is going to help him out a great deal. But he's kind of stuck on that side, and kRoNic doesn't really want to take any further damage himself. Oh wow, kRoNic, he just bullies his way past and makes sure that armor is definitely going to be mine. I do not care if you're in the way. I am getting there.
That was a drive by...
He needed to do that. Here comes the shield. There's still no Ghost Walk out. Where are the rockets coming from kRoNic? Nowhere to be seen, and Ghost Walk is about to be up again.
And this is where kRoNic again has to be very scared. Nyx has Ghost Walk and Nyx has a stack, and kRoNic really has to play super defensive until his ability is back up.
Oh, here it comes. Ghost Walk, maybe used a little bit early though. The armor, he comes in at the exact right moment to push him off. That timing was impeccable by kRoNic.
It was, but at the end of the day, it was a mistake by kRoNic. He could not afford to be there without his ability, and it was a mistiming. He's basically just standing on an item like a free kill.
You don't really want to be standing still when you're going up against Nyx anyway, just because of the implosion.
It was a very great use of the Ghost Walk, to be fair. Most players use it very defensively, but on the offense is where it's scary.
All damage coming through. He forces the Ghost Walk early on. He's trying to do some damage. kRoNic knows that he's following him. And it's actually good that he's been able to force that Ghost Walk. The Bull Rush will be up a bit sooner. Not that that would be the critical move that could secure him a kill, but it's always useful to have that extra mobility around the map.
kRoNic's doing a very smart job of just keeping kRoNic away.
The damage, though, by kRoNic.
But Crazy Rockets always changes the game.
Now, kRoNic has managed to secure himself 2 items. Where has kRoNic left 2? It's time to, you said before the game started that kRoNic has got that sort of positional play. And if playing a large champion is so important to do that, let's see what he's able to do.
This is the way you need to play champions like Scalebearer. You can't afford to be caught off guard because unless you have a bull rush up, there's no way to get out and you're forced to fight. So kRoNic's doing a really great job again, just this time keeping kRoNic at bay.
Yeah, he's got the bull rush up. He's going to fight completely by surprise. Dirorb used, and he's going to just bull rush right through him, get himself to his next item a little sooner. But it's that visor that proved so problematic for him last time round. He's just going in with the LG. I think he might chase all the way. No, he doesn't. He doesn't want to strafe him. Visor is a bit faster. kRoNic is just trying to play this as conventionally as possible, making sure he secures the items, because last time round it was kRoNic who was getting the big items. Surely the Rockets are going to be taking down kRoNic in a moment. He's going through the teleporter, less than 25 health left for kRoNic, and there it is. The Irish player getting his first round as well, resetting this map back to a best of 3 on rounds.
It was slightly sloppy of kRoNic there, because he literally just ran to the heavy armor. There wasn't really any play there, and kRoNic did a lot of damage. He just stuck around a bit too long.
Yeah. We are actually going to get to see from kRoNic's point of view how he is going to be playing clutch.
Great movement around the map, actually.
It already looks smooth. It bodes well for us if he's been, especially if he's been investing time into really learning this champion.
This is what we talked about right at the start. This map is whoever gets the rocket launcher has a slight advantage because it's so difficult. Oh my word! It is so difficult for your opponent to get it, and he's just bullying kRoNic away, but also taking a lot of damage himself.
He's going to go in for this. He's going to try and force that Ghost Walk, and he actually manages to do it. Now he's going to get an item on top of that. The armor's up. Good escape there from kRoNic.
It was very risky. To be fair, kRoNic should have predicted that, and Rocket jumped up earlier, but doesn't matter.
What a move, though, by kRoNic. He knew that Ghost Walk was not up yet, and he just had to close the gap as quickly as possible. No Rocket's going to be going to kRoNic's Ranger.
Yeah, and again, kRoNic just holding position, holding that Rocket side of the map, but giving it away now, so you have to be slightly more careful.
Oh, he's had forced to pop the shield maybe a bit earlier than he would have liked to. That armor's now been taken. Now he's got to be careful. Rocket's coming towards him. 12 health left. kRoNic wants to kill that robot, and he's going to be able to do so. And his stack is actually not too bad following that. So maybe can launch with some relatively quick aggression, particularly with that Dirorb up. Actually, some damage was taken by him. The Rockets aren't terrible at all, and he gets the kill in the end. 20 health left. Mega up. Straight over to the armor. And Ranger versus Ranger mirror match.
Yeah, kRoNic needs to back off. He needs to use this opportunity to get the weapons.
Wow, the aggressive play. He gets onto the Rockets quickly. He's even going to secure the frag. That was so rapid. Could not have predicted him to make such an aggressive move. What I love from kRoNic is the way he's giving respect, or not giving respect, to kRoNic. He's really playing without fear. But that is going to result in him being taken out, and maybe he needed a bit more fear in that smaller scenario.
To be fair, he did get bullied by a lot of the nail guns, so give him that one.
Yeah, do not underestimate that nail gun as well, actually. That nail gun can do such a potent amount of damage. And we are approaching the end of the first map already, since the first round has been played relatively quick. Rockets coming in, kRoNic. Oh no, the bounce pad is hurting him a lot. He does manage to double tap his way away. Well, this will be interesting to see if kRoNic wants to close that gap quickly. His stack's really not that massive. He's taken 225 health bubbles, which will give him a hand in this. Rockets have to be good because the LG is strong. But kRoNic survives, takes the Mega, and he was so low. It doesn't even completely fill up his health bars.
No, and we do need to see kRoNic being a little bit more careful when his ability's not up. It is up now, so we can predict that he can go very aggressive if he wants to.
And one thing I like about Ranger versus Clutch is the ability to get that Dirorb on them. He's actually going to go very aggressive, but the shield's still up. He can't find where he's popped him up in the air. Oh, Mega up in a moment, but he's going to run away. He doesn't want to hang around there waiting for it. That rocket was also phenomenally close. And kRoNic's going to let him take that armor side of the map. He's going to try and get that shield up as quickly as he can. But 5 seconds.
kRoNic's doing a perfect job. He knows exactly what kRoNic needs. He needs that armor, he needs that health, and he's pushing into pressure while his ability's not up.
Oh, this could be dangerous though. That Dire Orb's being used. He's got no escapability whatsoever. He's going to try and pop in the air. Gets 2 rockets with 25 health to go. Just timing the damage correctly.
That shows how important those 3 time glasses were, because if they weren't up, he would have died.
Yeah, because your shield goes down temporarily when you're firing weapons. And if you get that timing wrong, your opponent can shoot through that shield. And kRoNic is starting to regain some of the control on the map that he didn't have earlier. Looking to tie up the map 2 rounds to 2.
Yeah, kRoNic doesn't need to push in for heavy armor. He's experienced it in the past. Without his ability up, it's very dangerous to go on that low ground. So he's just trying to trade with these smaller armors and pressure on the mega health as well.
And I think he's, now that he knows exactly what kRoNic's up to, he's like, oh, the armor's up in a moment. I'm just going to get it. This is a nice move as well, forcing him out. He got an air rocket as well. That is so weak. This is surely going to be a round going in favor of kRoNic. Just, oh, the rocket is perfect. Does not even go for the hit scan at all. Secures that round, and that looked very, very confident. And
yeah,
just
convincing. I think he's adjusting to kRoNic's hyper-aggressive playstyle when he's on clutch. And he did a really good job of not pushing in for the heavy armor, which was the cause of his downfall in the previous 2 rounds. Yeah,
he's trying to just measure that aggression in the correct levels. He's going to try. Oh, he can't quite make it to the rocket in time, but it's a shame. He's found him. He's going to try and go with the gauntlet. He goes 1 damage and another one. He gets the double pummel on kRoNic's Nyx.
It's real. That was incredible.
But, I mean, do you call it disrespect, or was that just the right thing to do?
It was the right choice, but as a player, you feel disrespected. And he's doing a really good job here. Again, sticking around that rocket launcher is just a really dangerous area when you haven't got the item.
Good initial damage, got the shield up over here. And kRoNic has had an amazing first frag, but it's whether or not you can finish it off. Going with the LG in the air, he's going to take him out a second time, still retaining a decent amount of that health and armor. A little bit of time until items are back up, but he is going to be able to, I mean, he's so stacked.
And again, he doesn't need to do anything now. He's got a 2 champion advantage. His ability isn't up, so just hold out for 10 seconds. There's no need to be greedy. And there was real no need for kRoNic to push in there, because he must have known that kRoNic was there, so it's a little bit of frustration, I think, coming out on kRoNic's side.
That's a decent amount of damage that he just got. Is he going to go in? Is this where he's going to try and finish it? Rockets aren't really hitting so much. He's going to try and push it with just a couple of seconds left on the shield, and he makes it work anyway. 3-0s him in that last round, taking the first map.
3-0 for the previous 2 rounds, I think. Clutch and Clutch won.
That is absolutely remarkable. What happened to kRoNic there? He kind of just fell apart, it seems like.
I think it was more of an adjustment in playstyle. Once kRoNic knew he had the advantage, he realized what was going wrong before, and that kRoNic was not afraid to pressure him on those items, particularly when his ability was down. So kRoNic just said, hey, okay, I'll cut off the rocket launcher, and I just won't go for those major items until my ability's up, and I'll force you to come at me. And kRoNic just got a little bit too aggressive. As a player, particularly with such strong aim as kRoNic, you do think you have the advantage against someone like Clutch, because you can hit 100% damage on all of your abilities and all of your weapons.
So what should kRoNic have done? Because okay, the Clutch is perfectly decent champion in the game, but he's got his own weaknesses.
He just needed to be patient. He needed to keep away. The most important thing with Clutch is monitoring when his ability is up. When it's not up, you know you can push in and go for damage, but when it's up, you can't. You have to keep away.
Yeah.
kRoNic did a great job of finding kRoNic, but there was a few times when kRoNic pushed in needlessly. He needed to keep away, try and draw kRoNic away from the rocket launcher, try and get him toward the major item, take that rocket launcher, and then regain some map presence. Without the rocket launcher, kRoNic could really do nothing against kRoNic's charging Clutch.
Yeah, I do like the way that he was controlling that part of the map. I remember the first round, so one of the earlier rounds, he was just sitting on rocket like, oh, I'm just not going to give you this.
Yep.
This is now mine.
I mean, the best real champion of that map for kRoNic was the Nyx, because he could be quite aggressive and get away with his invisibility. But once that's gone, I mean, kRoNic knew his chance was there, and he was just able to pressure and pressure and pressure and just get on top of kRoNic.
Yeah, I felt that he used his Ghost Walk a little bit prematurely in some of the occasions as well. But anyway, let's gloss over that because we're going into map 2. This Blood Covenant, this is a map picked by kRoNic. We are going to get the clutch pick early on as well. Nyx and Ranger for kRoNic again, and Ranger and Nyx there for kRoNic.
So we got kRoNic with the same picks. That doesn't surprise me because he is, again, trying to keep to his the roots in the way he played Quake Live. Those champions there allow you to play in a very similar way that you dueled in Quake Live. So it shows to me he hasn't quite adjusted to this game quite yet, whereas kRoNic completely mixed up his picks. And that shows he's very comfortable in knowing the strengths of each of these champions on the maps. The Ranger in particular is very good on this map for moving it around, getting the weapons very quickly. Whereas the clutch is just obviously his favourite pick as well. Yeah,
and he traded out the Scale Bearer for the Nyx as well for some extra sneaky mobility. And I actually, it's reminded me now that Seizure, who lost to Strengths in the round of 32 on Thursday, he was talking to me actually about kRoNic's clutch and saying that actually it's remarkably good play from him. He says he's not experienced a clutch like that yet.
No, and again, it's one of those champions that just changes the way you have to approach duel. You can't play in your normal style, and that's where kRoNic struggled a lot on the previous map.
Well, let's get into this map number 2. We are on kRoNic's clutch to begin with. The rocket, though, is going to be taking the die orbs used already, but unfortunately for kRoNic, he's been stuck out. Does he want to rocket jump up, or is that just a little bit too aggressive?
I personally would have. kRoNic had no ability, no weapons, but each their own. He's playing safe. It's obviously $1 million on the line. And
yeah, I think he felt that there'll be more opportunities for this.
Yeah.
Let's get the job done later.
First round, first hero, first champion. Keep it safe.
And he knows exactly that kRoNic has got that weapon, which he's so famously good at.
This is a huge lifeline against Clutch. Obviously his model is massive and it's very easy to hit, and the last thing you want to do is to pop that ability when you're in a rail battle, because it's such a waste.
And that's surely what kRoNic's going to be trying to do, and what this map's designed for. He's going to be moving in with the shield. Hasn't quite found him too well. He fell to the middle floor. Railable. He's going to try and get out of here, and I think kRoNic's also giving him a bit of space because he was also very vulnerable and respects kRoNic's aim at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know if kRoNic's just severely ballsy or just quite crazy, but he keeps pushing in when he's used his dire orb and kRoNic's got his shield up, so he just needs to be far more careful.
Yeah, that dire orb, if you know that Clutch has got his shield up, you need to have that dire orb available, otherwise you just get cornered, you get completely stranded. And it can be a bit of a get out of jail free card, because you can put that dire orb onto his hitbox. It's quite big, and you can get that one-shot frag. It's quite difficult to do, but players at this level have got the skills to do that.
Yep, but falling back to trade, kRoNic doesn't want to push him without his ability up, and likewise with kRoNic more than happy to let kRoNic do that.
I think part of the reason kRoNic won't mind this map as well with Clutch is because of all the hourglasses that are on the map. Yep. He can get that cooldown on the shield going
this
to zero quickly.
You how important the ability is. He doesn't want to move out of bridge until it's back up.
There it is. Confidence up. He's going to move in. Still hasn't popped the shield. Is he going to go for it now? He's doing a little bit of initial damage, and the more damage he does before popping that shield, the better. But he says, you know what? You got the armor there for yourself. I'm going to let you escape. Oh, this could be a nice cutoff. kRoNic will have assumed that he's gone to the Mega already, and he's going to back off for it. Shield still up, but he's taking damage.
That's a move kRoNic does a lot, and it's obviously a move from Quake Live predominantly, where he takes the red armor and rockets jumps up. It was a really great read by kRoNic, but I think it's one of those bad habits that's not necessarily that great in Quake Champions. Saying that, he's on the Ranger, so it's far more applicable.
Oh, one bit of good damage. Dire Orb has been used. Extra damage found by kRoNic, and he's going to run away. We've got that Mega up in a second, but he doesn't want to go straight over to it. He just wants to make sure he's not railable. Oh, he's going to go up. Is he going to regret going up? That bounce pad, LG coming out, and that hitbox is the size of a Zeppelin, so he is going to pick up that first frag after 3 minutes versus the Clutch, which will be a relief to kRoNic.
100%. But what kRoNic's doing really well is when he is pressuring with the rocket jumps, obviously Ranger takes a lot less damage. He's abusing that fact, and it allows you to move around the map extremely quickly and get into the face of Clutch when he hasn't got a shield up.
Oh, kRoNic did just see him. Is going to be a landing. The first and only rail in that fight. Oh, this is hard work now for kRoNic. This could be closed off and be first round for kRoNic if he's just able to string together another shot. Oh, the distraction there from the dire orb. kRoNic wasn't even looking in his direction.
I mean, again, he's obviously very comfortable on the Ranger and he's pulling out some great moves.
Switching away just as that would be a possibility to get the kill. Finding him with another rail. The amount of items that kRoNic will be taking on the map. He's going to be scampering for health, for armor.
But there's only 1 minute remaining. kRoNic obviously knows he's low and he wants to push in for a final kill to make it slightly more solidified, but there's no real need to. He can just keep him at bay.
These rails just don't stop landing. kRoNic, is he going to be able to find any more shots? kRoNic just can't find the finisher. And kRoNic with that armor, he's not quite railable at the moment, but time is ticking. How on earth is kRoNic going to deal with him? He's missed that the initial rail. And kRoNic, he doesn't need to actually go in for the frag. He's railable at the moment. He's going to dire orb up, but the rocket comes out, and he gives kRoNic the frag. kRoNic going with the movement to get the armor position. This could be dangerous, though.
Oh, no.
I don't know if he wants to be here. There's still quite a few seconds until it's up. The machine gun's coming out, and kRoNic, no, you've just thrown everything you've worked for with 4 seconds left on the round.
I think that answers my my original question. It is just crazy by kRoNic.
Yeah.
Again, there's no need for him to stay there. He obviously got the kill, but it was such a high-risk play. I think kRoNic missed 2, maybe 3 rails before he killed his Ranger.
Yeah. That was... kRoNic will maybe regret the mistime there on the armor, but still, you're playing at this kind of level versus kRoNic. He's got plenty of chances to get the job done, especially winning after that first map, Corrupted Keep.
Yeah, and it was a really great rail at the start that puts kRoNic severely on the back foot.
Yeah, kRoNic's not even going to challenge for that Mega right now, spawning quite soon. I wonder if he can just stand his ground on the armor.
The only thing he did see is he did see kRoNic use his ability. It means he's got a slight lifeline in that he can pressure him, but it's bound to be up in the next few seconds.
I think kRoNic missed that jump. I think he tried to get on the bridge, and because kRoNic had just used his dire orb, he would have nowhere to run. And I believe the shield is going to be up.
Both of these players are playing out some crazy rails, actually.
Dire orb back up. Safety returned. And that small amount of absorbed damage that you get when you're standing still or moving slowly as clutch. Every little bit helps at the end of the day. Rocket jumping up on here. Oh, I thought he was going to go for the full jump. He has actually returned. His shield's not up anymore. Maybe this is a bit of an over-commitment from kRoNic.
Yeah. Once he missed that first jump, and he's missed a couple of jumps actually saying that, but once he missed that first jump, there's no way he should be pushing in there.
Yeah, I think he should have backed off, and I mean, he would have had hourglasses not too far away from him if he'd taken them already. But it's a question of realizing, you know, time's on your side. You got minutes left until the game's ending, and the champions are equal in numbers.
A zoning dire orb. I don't think I've seen many of those before.
Unfortunately, it didn't really work for him. I think we're going to see kRoNic go down again. Yeah, he's not going to be able to get a 90 damage rail, not with that amount of time in that corridor.
No, yeah. And we can see kRoNic's style benefiting this map a lot more. The blood cup, the runes of silence, sorry, well, whatever. Corrupted Keep is what I wanted to say. In that he's able to move around the map at high speed and really get in kRoNic's face.
kRoNic missing these rails. He knows that kRoNic's absolutely stacked and that he's just used Ghost Walk himself. So really, kRoNic just wants to hide. And he's going to go up. Is this just kind of forfeiting your life? I'm pretty sure he's just given up that round for free to kRoNic. You have to have some patience in this map.
It was just a bit of frustration again coming through from the failed clutch plays. It's obviously his strongest hero on this map by far, but it's perhaps one of the more difficult champions to play on this map.
And he is going to stick with clutch all the way through. And we get that next start from kRoNic once more. He's assuming that the rail's been taken. He might have to force us to go. So hasn't taken any extra damage, but kRoNic will know that he's up there. Is he going to try and go for some extra damage on the rail? Doesn't find it in time. Oh, the return rail from kRoNic. extremely important there.
It is almost tit for tat on rails, and again that does favour the clutch. So kRoNic's more than happy.
And kRoNic is going to want to close the gap a little bit, but those hourglasses, each one reducing the timer on your ability cooldown by 10%, is going to be helping kRoNic an enormous amount. Both items will spawn again in 20 seconds. I wonder if they're going to actually want to commit to a fight during that time, or it's really going to be safeguarding your side of the map.
Obviously, Clutch doesn't really care a tremendous amount about Nyx's ability, but he does want to close the gap, and kRoNic's making that extremely hard. He's just keeping at bay with rails.
And obviously each rail he's hitting is going to reduce that confidence for kRoNic to move into the fight and increase the chance of him to pop that shield prematurely.
I think what kRoNic needs to do is to pressure the items kRoNic wants instead of just trading, because to be honest, Clutch doesn't really need them.
Shield up, but both items popped at exactly the same time, and kRoNic just wants to run away. He's like, nope, I know you can see me. The one advantage I have is getting around these small corners quicker than you.
Yeah. And kRoNic's again not confident to go in without that shield, so he's happy to trade, even though he really needs to get some pressure onto kRoNic's side.
This could be a trap. Could be a trap here. But Ghost walks up already. He's going to force it up. Very nice by kRoNic. He's going to assume they're on the other side. That was a good move by kRoNic, actually. The shield is still working for kRoNic, but he can't close the gap enough and get that extra damage. His health isn't that great at the moment. Sure, he has some, but he needs a lot more.
Blood Covenant is so difficult for Clutch to play, particularly against a Nyx who can move around almost equally as fast as you.
And look at that, the Ghost Walk's going to be straight up again. I don't think that kRoNic will have his shield available just yet.
It will be more or less the same by the time they meet. kRoNic's doing a good job at making sure he keeps away with those time bubbles to fall back on.
kRoNic doesn't manage to hit the rail. I'm not sure if he meant to do that extra strafing at that point. Oh, he finds the rail shot just between the use of the shield and him firing a shot. He's moving in for this. He knows the shield's down. Is this going to be a possibility for him to close down this frag? kRoNic trying to get out, finding that extra health bubble, but he's actually playing around with the dodge quite well. Unfortunately, he is the target the size of a small country.
It's
and
true,
will eventually die.
That is the example of exactly why you do not want to pop that shield in a rail battle, because as soon as he does that, kRoNic knows it's his chance to push in.
Well, kRoNic has got the rail, but he has to leave 5 seconds until the armor's up. kRoNic wants to make sure he can't take it, but that was an important rail. That's suddenly given kRoNic a lifeline where he can take an item. Is this going to be, again, an aggressive push? kRoNic landing these shots. He's going to go in. Is he going to be able to implode him? Not quite, but the extra damage and then give him access to this major item room, it's an exchange he'll be happy to take. Fantastic read there, knowing he wants the health bubble.
Yeah, great prediction. And again, now kRoNic just needs to play defensive, but he really cannot afford to wait for this heavy armor.
kRoNic, you might have armor, but you're railable. I think he got the die roll, but he's fallen on the other side. Misses the rail, has to get out. 1 minute left for kRoNic to sort this out. He needs HP, and he knows that kRoNic is hunting him to hit that rail shot, but he can't quite find it.
That would have been insane if he finished kRoNic off there after hitting that die roll.
Well, we've got a aggressive Ghost Walk used.
But he's got 45 seconds.
Now, what kRoNic won't know is that kRoNic's used the Ghost Walk.
Yeah. He won't know that, and that's quite big because it keeps you on the back, keeps you really defensive if you don't know what the ability status is.
And kRoNic has got a decent enough stack, so he's going to need to attack, he's going to need to find him, and he just has. He's going to realise in a second that the shield's not up. He's got to finish this frag. He's like wondering, why isn't he popping Ghost Walk? What's going on? All you had to do was switch over to the machine gun and you've been fine, and now Ghost Walk has returned with less than 20 seconds to go at such an important time for kRoNic. Incredible rail as well.
He's still railable. This is his last chance saloon.
Oh, what a rail by kRoNic! The Ghost Walk was up as well, and somehow lands that?
So greedy by kRoNic. I don't... He obviously didn't
What the hell's
know.
going on? The die roll coming out once again. He's going to try and finish it off with a rail. He can get himself the kill. Surely a bounce pad rail's going to land, but he can't hit it with 1 rail remaining.
There's so much panic in this match. It's insane.
The fact that kRoNic had the time to get over the bridge and get that angle beforehand is just mind-boggling. Dirorb coming into play, they're going to trade places, and he's going to follow him. Tries to get the angle on the rail, and kRoNic's guarding this. It's going to be LG versus Rockets, but kRoNic wins it. kRoNic wanted to finish it, but it was not the right time to do the job. 1-1 in maps, and kRoNic gets it. What a final round there.
I don't know what just happened. Quake Championships.
You're here to analyze this.
It hits me in the face. Yeah, that is very true.
So say something clever quickly to understand why we had just an ridiculous exchange in positions and
I'm
everything.
not sure if kRoNic wasn't 100% aware on the time left on the map, and he certainly wasn't aware how close kRoNic was to hitting that rail. But irrespective, with 3 seconds to go on the clock, no matter where he is on the map, just hit your ghost.
Yeah,
like
that's all you had to do, really.
That's literally all we had to do to win.
I have the win button right here, but I'm not pressing it.
Yeah, and then kRoNic obviously didn't expect kRoNic to go just flying into his face without weapons right at the very end, and just panicked with the rail switch. Yeah,
so there was the Dirorb used by kRoNic to come onto the map, then kRoNic was pushing down to the armor. They changed places, and kRoNic was like, I don't want to wait 2 more seconds for the armor.
No, I meant previously.
Oh, right.
Literally after the 5 minutes went up.
Oh, he couldn't hit that. He couldn't hit that shot. And that should have been it for kRoNic. And I think he was still adamant. He was still in that mindset that I'm chasing the frag that is guaranteed to be mine.
kRoNic did a great job right at the very end of blocking the doorway. He heard the Dirorb back up, and he thought, my only chance here, I haven't got a rail, I haven't got a lightning gun, my only chance here is to hold my ground in this tight spot, and it worked out perfectly.
Because if he went over to that mega health,
he would have died.
He would railable surely, or
he was railable at the time, I believe. Yeah.
So kRoNic, is he going to be able to calm his nerves a little bit and make things happen for him in this third map? We've got Clutch and Ranger and Nyx once again for kRoNic on Ruins of Sarnath. We're going to get pretty standard picks as well from kRoNic. I think he's had that all the way through.
Yeah, and again, it's what he's comfortable with. It allows you to play in a very, very similar way as he did in Quake Live. And again, kRoNic's pretty much same picks as well, particularly with that Clutch. Ruins of Sarnath is a good map for Clutch, actually. So let's see how he does.
Yeah, absolutely. His Clutch wasn't as inspiring on map 2 as it was on Corrupted Keep. Corrupted Keep was phenomenal to play, and I think Clutch really works well on that map, especially when you don't have the rail. And you've got the rockets to work with. It's absolutely excellent. We've got a few more.
This map is slightly more enclosed than Blood Covenant. It allows you to keep away. I do expect a little bit of a stalemate trading of items when his ability isn't up. He's more than happy to drop back to one or the other. But at the same time, he can pressure into his face in those nice tight corridors, and there's a lot of time bubbles as well to pick up. So Clutch can have a really high uptime on that ability.
I was going to touch on actually the hourglass time bubbles, those things, because even for a champion like Nyx as well, can be really useful if you're using it defensively, and you can quickly clatter around and pick up those items. We are here though on map 3 between kRoNic and kRoNic. This series has offered us some joyous moments already, and I wonder who on earth is going to be taking this one. We got exchange damage already, high position. Looking for some pretty ambitious rockets, but is he just going to go in?
Yeah.
it appears so.
I'm not exactly sure what the plan was there, because there was no real way he was ever going to catch the Nyx, but hey, c'est la vie.
Yeah, I think maybe he was still in the mindset of before. Okay, so he's taken the armor. He wanted to make sure he got that item before anything else, and kRoNic just kind of standing there. I hope he's all right. Maybe he's just basking in his own disappointment from the last map.
Because no, it was more that kRoNic used his Ghost Walk as well, and kRoNic thought he was going up the jump pad, but instead he tried to double bluff and it didn't pay off.
Not a bad little rocket there. We should have the armor for kRoNic as well. And he's going to make it out. No rail angle found for kRoNic just yet. kRoNic's got to settle his nerves a little bit. I guess in some respects it applies to both players. Obviously, kRoNic with such a supreme amount of competitive exposure already, probably going to be able to balance himself out quite well. I know kRoNic's had good experience too, but he's the one who's on the brink of removing a Quake legend.
But kRoNic's doing well. He has slowed it down, and you want to get Nyx into those corridors, so she is out of position. Because one rocket, even if it's just a bit of splash, affects Nyx so disproportionately.
There's the rail. kRoNic's surely going to be forced to...
Again, he's just very greedy with using his...
Let's just assume he won't hit the rails. I mean...
There is that element of he trusting his aim far more than anything else.
And that move there from kRoNic, he's just split across the map.
That was actually a very good move.
He wanted, I guess, to get out of that. It's a bit of a sort of choke point in a way.
Yeah, exactly. He had the rockets. He could block the red armor choke point, even though he didn't. But it allowed him to get out probably the safest route.
And he might meet him with the rail up at the top by the bounce pad. kRoNic found him and is going to be able to return 5-6 and finds the follow-up rail. Incredible shot here by kRoNic. His Ranger has been definitely up to the job. Going up against the Visor. Visor has been actually a really strong champion, typically for kRoNic. It's got to be careful. Hits a rocket to rail. Going to try and go in for the frag, maybe? He picks up the rail anyway. That repositioning was excellent there from kRoNic.
It was very, very aggressive play from both of them. kRoNic had used his ability, and kRoNic still pushed in. But then kRoNic used his ability, and kRoNic still pushed in. So, I mean, these players are now clashing with their aggressive styles.
But I like it. I like that they're not fearing each other, and we're not getting these stalemates of not seeing each other around the map for 10 minutes at a time. I do like the tension that those games bring, but the frags that we're getting are, I think we're seeing just some very intelligent plays in general.
Yeah, and kRoNic knows kRoNic doesn't have a rail, so he's guarding that with his life at the moment.
kRoNic's got to be careful, because if an aggressive Ghost Walk came out, it's so unlikely at this stage of the game to happen. Whoa, then he's going to force it after that. He's going to know exactly where he is. This is a great move, actually. But he hasn't got the rails to follow it up. Has he got extra damage to find anywhere? He's cherishing his stack this time, and I like the fact that he's not overcommitting to the fight like he would have done in the past.
The pummel switch is an indication of anger in Quake, by the way. I do it every single time I mess something up, I switch the pummel.
So the non-verbal communication in-game.
Exactly.
On the rail. Oh, nice work over here. And this is something you touched on earlier about getting that shield used when you're just railing.
Yeah, but kRoNic playing a little bit smarter, knowing that he didn't really have any stack to push in, and one rail would have almost certainly spelled his doom. So still safe play from kRoNic, perhaps learning from the previous map.
I like what kRoNic does. It's just a small little detail, but the way that he exits the jump from the bounce pad, just to make sure that he's not railable immediately going up to the sort of the apex of the jump.
Yeah, and I think as a clutch player, that is imperative. You're so easy to hit no matter where you are on the map. You have to take every precaution.
He somehow manages to avoid that rail. Is he going to go in for this? No, quite able to. He wants to force that Ghost Walk and then use his shield, because then he'll have the information he needs.
It's just a few small errors coming out here. The weapon switches haven't been great, particularly on kRoNic's side, switching to rail and missing them. We saw it on Blood Covenant as well. Just stick with the rockets, or maybe he didn't have a lightning gun, but try and get a lightning gun.
One day. He's using that shield. He wants to close the gap a little bit, try and force that Ghost Walk at least once. There we go. And he's got to watch out a little bit. He's only got 2 rockets left. Going in for a rail shot. He's going to miss it. Surely that commitment's they're gonna stop now. Less than 10 seconds until the armor.
kRoNic is so aggressive. He trusts his aim over and above anything else. He always sticks around for perhaps 1 shot longer than anyone else does. And that has been catching kRoNic off guard. But again, I think he is slowly adjusting, which is why he slowed down this game quite considerably.
That quick movement to get into that rocket. And having to manage his ammunition a lot. I mean, if anything, I'd almost take another rocket just so you don't have to do it for ages.
The items are...
This is an interesting use of the shield.
Yes, it really was. But the items are pretty much bang on, so they're more than happy now to split, particularly because kRoNic again used that shield.
When I say interesting, I mean bad?
Not bad.
Or do you think, is there really a point? It felt like nothingness from...
It was preemptive. He literally popped it the second after kRoNic backed off. He thought he was going to be guarding that choke point because that's what a lot of players would do. But kRoNic backing off just at the right time.
Do you feel like you have to weigh up, though, the value of using an ability early, assuming that it's going to get value for you?
Yes, 100%. But he knew that if kRoNic... He knew 2 things. He knew either kRoNic would be there and he could pressure him, or he wouldn't be there, he would be on the heavy armor. Either way, it allows kRoNic either the chance to do damage or back off and play safe until it's back up. Okay. So either way, it was quite a good analysis from him.
Okay. And he has spotted him on the side of the map over there. We are getting a long stalemate between these 2 players. Definitely feeling the heat a bit more as these maps and rounds have been playing out. We've got the largest champion in the pool versus the smallest.
But I think you can now see the pressure because this is the final map and both players are really afraid to commit.
kRoNic, the fact that he's got an advantage in rounds, only one round in the map, but to retain that advantage would mean everything to him.
Yeah, and it's 45 seconds left. Still both have all 3 of their champions, which means the next kill could be definitive.
He's going to go through the teleporter, actually. He's not going to find him, I think. Oh, he's up at the top. Cheeky little rail.
Cheek.
That's good detective work.
Yeah.
Rocket spam, absolutely underrated. Here's a split on the items, so we got that they pretty much spawn at the same time.
kRoNic is desperate to pressure, but he knows that he can't get caught off guard as well, because if he has to pop that ability defensively, it could be the end.
Can I just point out that it's been 5 minutes and he still hasn't... Oh, he's gone through the teleporter. He knows that he's there and he wants to go in for it. He actually goes for the rail. Can he find one more shot? That's almost it. He gets the kill and kRoNic goes down.
That was great play. He missed the opening rocket, but it doesn't matter. kRoNic couldn't afford to attack because he had popped that Ghost Walk already.
Do you think the fact that he was visible before the teleporter was bad? Would that played into a hands, or do you think kRoNic would have gone through that teleporter regardless?
Well, kRoNic popped his shield, so he knew exactly where he was at all times anyway.
That is a fair point. And speaking of which, kRoNic is 1 round away from knocking out kRoNic, where it would be 3 qualifiers in a row that kRoNic does not make it to the regionals. And that shield is down now. He's got the rockets. I wonder if he's going to be getting the LG this game. Maybe it's too soon to tell.
He needs to back off desperately.
Oh, the Ghost Walk's being used. kRoNic in trouble though. Oh, he's found him. Done some extra damage. Got to go careful through the teleporter. Now kRoNic might be thinking, you know what? Maybe this is a bad idea. The armor, he's no longer railable. And has kRoNic just escaped what looked like almost certain death?
A rocket.
He's got it. He's going for the health. I was worried there because I thought that kRoNic was coming down the lower end as well.
Yep, and I think kRoNic did a very good job in that. kRoNic's a very rhythmic player. He likes to take the same patterns across the map, so I think kRoNic knew that kRoNic wouldn't come down that way because 99% of the time kRoNic goes the other direction. So it's a smart read, I would say, anyway, by waiting there.
I think now that kRoNic can breathe again, considering he was so close to death, I wonder how he's going to approach this. He's going to move in, push him off did he push him off the Mega there, or did kRoNic get that? I did not quite see it. But his shield's down. He forced the Ghost Walk at the end, but obviously wasn't able to commit. Needs to use that choke point. kRoNic is going to try to go for the shot, but it's a good little sidestep dodge.
I think after last map, kRoNic felt playing defensive didn't work against Clutch. He had to take the game to him. And I think we're definitely seeing the benefits of that. That kRoNic's very much on the back foot now. Before, he let kRoNic get a stack way too easily, and once you've got a stack, it's difficult to force him off the map. So by keeping in his face, he's doing a really great job here. But standing on an item when you do not know the time and popping your shield is perhaps the worst thing you could do.
And the item's still up.
That's exactly why.
Yes.
It's just super greedy.
Why would you pop the maybe he just assumed that he was ghost walking towards him or something like that, but you don't know when...
I think it was a massive miscalculation in timing, obviously, but he thought it was going to spawn in the next second or two, and he knew kRoNic would be there.
That was a dangerous guess to make.
I mean, he was right on the kRoNic front, he was just wrong on the timing front.
I've seen a few people falter and also lose their tournament survival based on big mistimes on items. You can't sit on items, especially against an X.
If you don't know the time, you just need to wait and get that information. You cannot really afford to do that.
Mega coming up, he's trying to dodge this. Oh, he's forcing the Ghost Walk. This might be a really good play as well, actually, by kRoNic. Has the rockets. Mega has been taken. Only 17 damage, so not going to be suddenly changing his mind to go deep into the fight once more. Can still feel the tension rising as this game goes on.
Minute and a half left, so we've still got some good time.
Oh,
I'm not sure if he heard that.
There it goes, and it's because of the hourglass is being taken as well, I think. That was a fantastic frag by kRoNic, and kRoNic just there were too many question marks above his head in terms of what kRoNic was doing then.
It was a sound play by kRoNic because kRoNic knew that kRoNic would not have had his ability up. So really, really strong play.
And also all those question marks, the fact that he did it before the teleporter, where he wouldn't have heard it. I mean, that was just maximum confusion. Your defenses are down if you're kRoNic.
I think kRoNic had no idea, so it was awesome.
1 minute though. kRoNic has done some pretty impressive things with his Ranger in this series. I wonder if he's got it in the tank.
But he only has 50 seconds to pick up this 2-champion deficit.
He's got stack.
That's
step one.
But I think kRoNic's learned from Blood Covenant thinking, I do not need to rush kRoNic right now. I can play defensive.
So just observing the sort of the detail on this part of the map. Hits one rail, that's nice. Get a little bit of chip damage. That shouldn't deter kRoNic too much from pushing in for a fight. But he's going to meet up with him.
Is he going to pop the Ghost Walk? Oh, holds on to it. That's big. That could almost be game.
Yeah.
If he pops it at 57.
Hopefully he will actually do it this time. Dirorb, he doesn't make the move forward. Maybe he was hoping that kRoNic would kind of overcommit and go down.
He knew if he did it, he was dead.
Just use the Ghost Walk, please.
It's two champions anyway. That was a much better map by kRoNic. Far more composed. He kept in kRoNic's face and kept him off guard the whole time. As long as you don't let kRoNic get that really stable position with a big stack, you can actually whittle him down.
Fight.
You kind of just think though, what if you didn't just wait for 15 seconds on the armor?
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a what if. Huge mistake.
And that it could end up being, we obviously don't know what would have happened if he didn't do that, but he's 1 round away from qualifying to the regionals. You've got to be playing flawlessly at the moment, particularly if you're going up against kRoNic. We've got the rockets coming out from kRoNic at the moment. 1 rail, and that is going to force kRoNic away. That's usually all it takes when you're playing as Nyx.
Yep, kRoNic didn't have a rail. If he had a rail, he might have pushed in, but again, he knows the stakes here. This is his last chance.
Yeah, he can't afford to make a single error. Armor's up in a second, and he couldn't be more impatient for that Ghost Walk to be up. There we go. And breathe. Oh, he's going to back off. He doesn't want to use the Ghost Walk straight away. He knows there's a health bubble nearby, and he is going to secure it. Oh, he's going to run straight into him. This could be really brilliant for kRoNic. Just awful, awful news for kRoNic.
That was such a great read by kRoNic. He knew exactly what kRoNic wanted. He wanted 2 health bubbles, and where are they? They're exactly there.
This is really big. We've got the Mega spawning in a second. kRoNic are going to battle his way up these obstacles to find it.
Yep. I mean, that's happy days. He got the Mega. He didn't need to pressure the red. He didn't have enough stack. And again, his ability's not up, so he's just playing super cautious till it is. Oh no.
Oh, could be really bad for kRoNic. Oh my god, the damage! The royal, can it follow up? Not quite find it.
That was like a comedy sketch.
A few seconds. This time kRoNic waiting a bit more intelligently for this, and another huge rocket. The pressure that kRoNic is under at the moment.
He should really be trying to get up quickly.
Oh, he's going to find it, but he can't overcommit to this fight. He's got to remember, I have the edge.
Yep.
Let's not get too hasty over here. I think play defense. Even if you got the shield up right now, you just stop your movements.
I mean, even though he has 125 health, as we mentioned before, time and time again, he's such an easy target. He needs that armor. It doesn't need to be the heavy armor. He needs to try and get across to the small green ones.
And it is annoying on this map because those small green ones are on the opposite sides.
Exactly.
So you can't just skip around and stack up very easily, like maybe an Anarchy could on a Blood Covenant or something like that. But obviously you got your armor limitations as that champion. Oh, the rail comes out. This is pretty bad news.
Yeah.
Always cautious.
The reason we're not seeing kRoNic push is because, again, he knows about that shield. So kRoNic, he's got enough time to whittle him down. If he pushes in, there's a very, very good chance kRoNic will die. So he's playing very smart and patient at the moment.
And kRoNic not taking the same care he was earlier with his movements on the bounce pad, and maybe costing him a bit of life then. But it's actually been great timing from kRoNic as well. He hasn't been playing on the items for ages, even though he might have been hearing them getting taken. Oh, he's got to get out.
See, he has to pop the shield there. But kRoNic, I don't think that kRoNic saw that.
But did he hear it is one question.
That's a very good question too. If he did, then we can see him, we'd expect him to push in, which he's doing.
One rail goes back through the teleporter. He's got to watch out. He's trying to change places with him, but it is kRoNic going to be securing that frag. Clutch is out of the picture. It is Ranger versus Nyx.
Yeah, so I do think then kRoNic heard it, which was an awesome play to push in.
Yeah, and locking him down. That's such a tricky part of the map to play on. And maybe in hindsight, kRoNic can think about how he could have escaped from that situation, but it's too late for him to be thinking about that now.
But without the clutch, I am leaning in the favor of kRoNic for this one now.
That would bring us to a tiebreaker round on the tie-breaking map. And I know kRoNic,
again,
he'll be trying to prevent that from happening. You do not want the tension to rise that high that you have to win it, well, when it's anybody's point.
He's going to have to pop the Ghost Wall to get out.
I think kRoNic's just about made it. He's only got 50 health. Where is he going to look for the resources? He's down at the bottom. This is an awful place to be. His Ghost Walk, I don't know if it's going to be up for a while. I'm not sure what his time is like on it. Careful of those rockets. Dire Orb here to play some tricksy maneuvers. The rockets,
Awesome.
not too bad at all from kRoNic, but you're just stuck in a corner there. You just don't want to go to that part of the map. Actually, that machine gun damage.
Jeez.
There's 20 seconds remaining. kRoNic, we've seen that it is possible for him to throw at this stage.
Yeah, but
maybe it's a strong word, but you know.
He's learned, he's hiding, and I'm not sure that kRoNic can actually get to him.
Actually, 5 seconds. You can see him on the side of the map, but he's just not able to close the gap. And kRoNic, he is a second away from making it to the tie-breaking round.
Jeez.
Emotions are going to be pretty high level at the moment. The psychological pressure that you've got, and this is where I think kRoNic might do a little better than kRoNic. Even though he is an emotional player, he is going to have that resilience.
100%. This is heart in the mouth time.
Oh, the damage that he's done. 20 seconds, he's just machine gunned him down. What?
Why is he not using the Ghost Walk? Even though kRoNic has a shield, you still have to...
What?
Oh, no.
No, he didn't. He just got the Dire Orb implosion on him.
Jeez.
And two very important champions have just been eliminated, respective to each player, of course. We've got Ranger versus Ranger. What a way to impact
We've just
this
gone
critical
from
round.
2 to 3 rounds that have gone the distance to insta-kills.
And kRoNic's got a massive stack. There's still 5 seconds until the armor's up. kRoNic's not actually heading that direction. He realizes, I haven't got rockets. This is important. And maybe that's giving kRoNic a bit of an extra lifeline, I think.
Yeah. I'm sure they both calmed down. My heart is slowly calming down as well. And that's why we're seeing them just trade some items now.
They spot each other. That's a good rail. Dire Orb used at the top. A good repositioning there from kRoNic. And he's going to get that Mega. Early on Mega. If he's not too aggressive on the armor and he goes back and gets the items, he should still be able to make it to the armor in time. But he's taken so long to do that. It's a quick exchange. Yeah,
I'm not sure he was 100% both timings, so it was just a much safer play.
Maybe the Dire Orb wasn't up. Maybe that's something he wants to keep in his pocket.
It wasn't up. He used it to get up there. Nice and quiet now.
I do like the sneaky plays. There's good value in moving slowly around the map. That players like myself who play Anarchy just don't get the grip of straight away.
No, you prefer to charge.
Just run quickly.
But we can see the importance of just hitting one rail. It forces kRoNic back time and time again, but they both trade.
Important return fire from kRoNic. That prevents kRoNic from getting too much confidence.
Slightly healthier though. kRoNic would die, I believe, or just about.
There's still a while until that armor's up, and kRoNic, you're in a dangerous spot at the moment. You probably need to get the hell out of there. You've just got this champion repositioning himself, but he is going to be going down. And kRoNic, again, on the final round, you're going to sit up for items that aren't up? Are you absolutely mental? Items
are important, but they're not worth risking your life so blatantly for.
And this is where kRoNic might look back and be like, I regret my actions. He's just hiding here.
I think kRoNic knows.
What? This could be the end of it for kRoNic. That's it. The frag that just finished it like that. What have we just seen?
That That was crazy and anticlimactic all at the same time.
It was like climactic but anticlimactic. I'm just not really sure what to make of that final situation. It was smart though of kRoNic to realize that he was over there.
Panic skills by kRoNic, he says. I mean, I don't even know if kRoNic knew actually. I thought he did, but I think he wanted to just restock up on the rocket launcher.
Was it just
I think it was just pure coincidence.
A happy accident?
If you would, a happy accident. Let's roll with that.
Yeah, I mean, that was still an absolutely amazing series, and I think there was some mention of the dire orb on the clutch at the end, which was so important for kRoNic to hit that.
That could have actually won him the series, and won him the spot in the region. I mean, at least it vindicates our judgment, saying how close the game was going to be. It could not have been any closer. Yeah. And I'm super impressed with the way kRoNic played.
He's going to kick himself though.
Oh,
for those, he made at least 2 errors in that last map alone on items.
He played the better Quake by and large up until those mistakes. But when kRoNic turned it on, there's not much kRoNic could do.
Yeah.
And once that clutcher got taken out of the equation, I think you could see kRoNic's confidence rise massively. kRoNic really has perfected that clutch.
And you know, from the first map where he was playing so quick against clutch and it was not working at all, to at the end where we were seeing these 5-minute rounds or so on going up against clutch, is a huge difference, and that shows that kRoNic was trying to adapt throughout the series. So I'm impressed with kRoNic, and he of course has made it through to the regionals. It looked as if he wasn't going to make it at all, and he would have to fight in the 4th qualifier, but that is going to be enormous relief for the German player. You guys will definitely be seeing him at the regionals. And looks like we got ourselves a set of replays. And oh my god, there were so many things that happened this series. I just can't even get my head around all of them. Nice little bull rush work there from kRoNic.
There's nothing more satisfying than steamrolling your opponent with a bull rush.
Great little air rocket there through the teleporter. And this is kRoNic that was just trying to secure his 2nd round as well. Again, flying robots definitely the theme of the day so far.
It is. This is the pummel. It is pretty cool to see a flying fat mini island around the map.
And I think that actually, although we saw so much more, that those 2 gauntlet kills, that's something that shouldn't go overlooked. That was amazing, and I'm so glad that we saw kRoNic do it. And it would be insane if we could see the. Obviously, I don't want to make demands, but that rail on down to the bottom of Blood Covenant that managed to secure that round for kRoNic when kRoNic should have been using his Ghost Walk.
Yeah.
I mean, what a critical moment was that.
Bush.
That was the one right there. And you saw how far kRoNic was away from him at that point. That was just great movement skill from kRoNic to make it happen.
This was a great play by kRoNic.
Yeah, I think at that point, kRoNic was like, I've been outplayed. There's not much I can do.
This was the mistake. Because the reason why he pops the shield is because he felt kRoNic was going to come down there, and he felt he was going to be stealthed, and he wanted to see him, but it was just a complete miscalculation on times. Yeah.
And the fact that he made those timing mistakes in a couple of instances, it's like desperation, really. It's like, well, if I have this item, everything's going to be so much better for me. Oh my god, that dire orb kill as well.
Won him the game.
Unbelievable. So guys, we are going to move to a quick break in a moment. I believe we're going to be getting Syndrome versus Smoke to be confirmed. But thanks very much for watching the Quake World Championship qualifiers EU style on the round of 16. Me and ZSX will be back in just a moment to bring you the next match.